Hey, this is Eric. So one of my hobbies is computers, and I've decided to take it to a slightly higher level by going back in time and building a vintage machine. So I've got the motherboard here, came with the CPU, Pentium 3, and I've got a heatsink. Now the heatsink and fan that I pulled from a different motherboard, but it's supposed to fit. So I've been trying to get it on, and what I wanted to show you is, see this big notch in the aluminum plate, okay? Now, there's the socket. The socket has the matching notch, basically. So that tells you how to align the cooler body, the aluminum fins, to the motherboard. I didn't notice that at first. I figured, hey, maybe other people won't notice it either. So I just wanted to point this out. And then everything's good. Oh, and this one, by the way, came from an Athlon socket 462 board, also known as socket A. So the coolers for those are equivalent and fit on a socket 370 from an Intel board. Here's another really short tip. The cable for the fan couldn't reach the fan power supply on the motherboard. So you just take the fan off the heatsink, rotate it around, and reapply. Screw it back down, and you're good to go. I don't know if I have a case that fits this size motherboard. I think I do. I mean, it's 12 inches wide, but it's like, or 12 inches long, 8 inches wide, so it's sort of like a short, it's a short ATX. But what I'm doing is I'm putting it on a piece of wood that I already had a motherboard mounted on that I used to take to schools to show kids how to assemble the parts of a computer. So I'm just going to put this one back on the same board. The old motherboard finally died out, and we'll be in business for some basic testing. I plugged the power supply in, and the fan came right on. And the computer went beep beep, and the little LED came on. And I didn't do anything with the front panel header. That's curious. Go figure. This is my video card. The first GPU ever made was the NVIDIA GeForce 256. This is the model after it. This is a very good video card for the era. Very inexpensive these days. This is a $15 card with shipping off of eBay, and it's faster than the $300 Voodoo 3FX cards people are buying. Faster and better from everything I've read. So I think people still buy the Voodoo name 20 years later. Anyway, this is an AGP card because the advanced graphics port was better for graphics at than PCI. Again, in this era, I think essentially now some of the features of AGP are in the PCI. So we're going to put this card in. It's a VGA, of course, but also has S-video. And we've got memory, CPU, cooler, fan, everything, power. And we're going to try to post this guy up. That's coming next.
You?
Okay, I'm gonna post this up. Graphics cards in. Here we go. Well, that's good.
That's good.
It didn't boot. That's excellent. It's not supposed to boot. That means the computer worked.
Yay!
I just have to put in a keyboard and mouse now and get it into BIOS. Alright, now I have a PS2 keyboard hooked up to the computer. You may wonder why PS2. I've worked with some old computers before and they would not recognize a USB keyboard out of the box, so I have a PS2 keyboard in case I run into those problems. F2 is the key for this motherboard to enter BIOS. So when I fire it up this time, we're going to try to get it to show me a little bit more. No, it just wants to boot. Interesting. Well, we'll figure that out. So either I didn't press F2 at the right time, or it was not F2. So I hit a few other keys in addition to F2, and voila, we're in BIOS. So what do we got? What do we got here? Total memory, 512, yep, as advertised. 1 gigahertz Pentium 3. I have no idea if that's a good version, an old version, or what. I may want to update the BIOS. July 5th, 2021. Yeah, that's today. Yeah, that's just fun. Isn't that fun? So there's a boot configuration here. I wonder what it can do. That's not what I was expecting. Let's see. I'll look at a couple of things here. Oh, this is nice. 4X AGP card has been detected. Fantastic. Everything's good so far. I don't have any hard drives or anything hooked up. What I wonder is why the computer turns on automatically. What's this? Yeah, we'll figure that out later. Now, what about booting? I wonder what my options are. Well, I was naively hoping to find a USB boot, but I don't have a USB boot. I don't think I have a valid operating system on a disk that I can use to boot this, or better yet, a CD or DVD player that is a PATA, ATA 100. So even though I can get this to run, I just don't have any way to fully boot it up right now. Let's see, after power failure, last state. Let's take a look at that. This might have something to do with why it's booting. Oh, and I don't want rapid boot. I want it to test things. This is an old system, so I want to test it when it starts up. So I'm going to disable that. Quiet boot. I don't want it quiet either. I want to see everything. Okay, after power failure, last state determines the mode of operation. If the power stays off, system will remain off. Once power is restored, power on. Boots the system after power is restored. Last state, same state it was before power failure. Well, that sounds like If it was on and power failed, it'd be on. So we're going to switch this to stays off. I don't need the computer just powering up all the time. There should be nothing here. Primary, secondary, okay, that's fine. So save and exit, F10. Yes. Okay. Wow, we're getting close. If you've been following along, you may be wondering, how am I going to start a computer sitting on a piece of wood? So there's a couple of ways. They effectively do the same thing. You can short two of these wires together to get it to start. That's one way. And the other, probably the easier way in this case, is you go to the front panel header. There it is, FP header. And these two pins here. Those are for power, for the power switch. So when the power switch is depressed, these two are shorted together. So you could just short them with a screwdriver and start the computer right up. Next to it is the power LED. So it provides power to the power light. So after that BIOS change for the power to stay off when power is reapplied, now the power's on and we're not running. So I can use my screwdriver to start the computer up. Look at that. Now, it still won't boot, but hey. And there's all the messages. I said I wanted to see all those messages, and it's doing the additional tests. There it is, the memory test is going on right now. Oh yeah, this thing's a time machine. Press F2. Is F2 really the one? Yes, F2 really is the one. I just wasn't quick enough at earlier time. So there you have it. Now I just got to figure out how to attach something with a good operating system.